Hello, welcome to the Courageous Self-Care Podcast. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. On this podcast, I love to talk about self-care that goes beyond bubble baths, chocolate, and wine. It's self-care that can get uncomfortable, and it has the potential of changing your life. That is why it takes courage, and it goes so deep. Be sure to stick around to the end. We have some free gifts to share with you, and I would love to introduce my guest today, Eileen Head. Eileen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. Eileen, tell us what you do. What you do is so fascinating, so I'd love to hear about it.
I am an Enneagram personality and relationship expert, and I've often been called the relationship whisperer. I help you discover who you are to the depth of your being and how to get love the way you need.
Oh, the Enneagram is I just love the Enneagram, and I'm going to share why, because it's the only personality typing system that I've ever found where I said, yes, that's me for sure. Every other one I've been like, I could go this way, I could go this way, but the Enneagram has that built in, and I love that it has spiritual principles and a line of like how you are when you're in stress, how you are when you are moving towards your best self. So I just love it, and I love that you know it so deeply.
Yeah, it really is. It really is a roadmap, right? It is. It totally gives you all the parts of yourself to help you understand yourself, be compassionate as you grow and learn and expand, and that's why I'm passionate about it too.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing, that compassion, it's so valuable to know that not everyone is the same. Everyone has their own stuff. And when you can recognize it in other people, not just knowing yourself, but knowing, oh, that's their stuff, and this is how I can help them through it and deal with them in a way that helps us both feel great, makes such a big difference.
Yeah, it allows us to get ourselves out of the way, right? We tend to personalize things, and our wiring is it's all about us, right? If
Yes.
they're not reacting to us, it's all about us. It must be something I'm doing wrong, or I'm not enough, or I'm not good enough. And so with the Enneagram, when it highlights, for me, when it showed me, what my value is to the world, that people actually valued these specific traits, that was a big aha for me, because I didn't understand that's actually what I was doing, what I was looking for the response from people, but I didn't realize it. And now that I do, I can fulfill that for myself and from other people as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just so powerful. So we're going to share later how you can learn more about the Enneagram on Elaine's site. Eileen's site. So Eileen, I love to get our guests to share their favorite self-care practice. What would you say yours is?
Again, for me, the self-care is the Enneagram. It is understanding myself, watching my own patterns, managing them, and understanding what it is, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then I can look at it and say, what am I needing? What am I needing at this time, either from myself or from other people?
Mm-hmm.
And so as I continue to do my inner work with the Enneagram, it transformed my life. I have such a sense of peace and a sense of control in what's happening around me or with me. And that's a huge confidence builder and a self-worth builder for myself.
Yeah, I love how you phrase that, and I would definitely agree. I like to say, I think I say it sometimes, I know I believe it, that the greatest journey we go on in our lifetime is that of personal discovery. And then finding out who is underneath all the other stuff that we have piled on top of ourselves, and then sharing who we discover with other people. It's just so powerful and fulfilling.
And sometimes fun, that I'll
Yeah.
react a certain way and I'll go, really? Isn't that interesting? That's coming up again. Like, what's that about? I've worked so much on that. But it's, I kind of tilt my head and go, wow, okay. I guess I need to look at that again.
Yeah.
And it's not a judgment now. It's like, isn't that interesting?
I think it
And
helps you
it makes
also,
life fascinating, right?
yeah, and it helps you not take yourself so seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Thank you for sharing that. I love that. And no one has ever said that before. It's the first Enneagram self-care practice. Now, the other thing I love to hear from our guests on the show is a story of courage. So when there was a time when you knew that you wanted to do something, or you just felt like you had to do something, and there was fear, but something pulled you through that fear, and then whatever happened on the other side. So I'd love to get that story from you.
I think it was in Costa Rica when was doing the zip lines, and they had this big tower that you could jump off of. And at the present time, I was very stuck in a long marriage. I don't know how long I was married at that time, maybe 30 years. And I was really stuck, and I wanted to move from that. And so I looked at that tower and I said to myself, I need to do something that scares the heck out of me, but pushes me through the fear, knowing that I need to make some decisions here. So I crawled up that tower, and I would have swan dived off it if I could have, but it was you jump and the bungee cord takes you down, and then it swings you out over the jungle floor, swings you back in. And it was a really cool experience because I needed to jump, push myself through the fear. And as I was going out with the momentum of the move, it was like an airplane noise in my ears. It was so loud. Mm-hmm. And then as I swung back in, it was absolutely silent. Wow. And peaceful. And so I often use that as an analogy for myself as, you know, when you're going against the flow, even going against what you need or staying stuck, there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of resistance pushing towards you. But when you get in the flow and you take action, it goes easily.
That is absolutely beautiful, and I can so resonate with that. I did a big ziplining course this past summer in Kauai, and I had been ziplining before. It wasn't that was what was scary for me. It was when they said on a certain jump, now on this one, you can go like Superman. So like it's called the flying Kauaian over the jungle. And I had gone feet first every time. And for some reason that didn't scare me. But the flying Kauaian, I think like just having the front part exposed and seeing everything that was going by, it just terrified me. But one of my power words for myself is adventurous. And I thought, well, an adventurous person would do the flying Kauaian. And so I said, fine, I'll do it. And the guy said, you don't seem very happy about it. And I said, I'm not, but I'm adventurous, so I'm going to. And he got me all hooked up. And then I was leaning over the platform, and I don't know how high it was. It was terrifyingly high. I'm not afraid of heights, but there was just nothing below me. And I said, oh, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to do it anymore. Please unhook me and do the other way. And he said, I don't think you really mean that. I said, oh, I really do. He said, no, once you do it, you're going to be hooked. You're going to love it. And so I said, okay, fine, I will do it. He said, you don't seem very happy about that. I'm not. And I had to give myself a countdown. I was just absolutely terrified. And then I don't know what pulled me through. I think it was just the ideal that I want to be an adventurous person, and this is what adventurous people do. And jumping off that platform, I screamed so loud until I had no scream left. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this is fun. It's amazing. I love it. Like, what a great analogy for taking the leap. It takes so much courage. And what helps us move through courage is an ideal on the other side. And so for me, that ideal was, I am adventurous. That's how I want to be. And so it pulled me in to making that decision to take the leap. So
that's very interesting, because we know your personality type is a 1 perfector, right?
Yeah.
And so the path of development is to go to the 7 optimister, which is adventurous and fun and less structured. So it's very interesting. And good for you for pushing yourself through that, and then giving yourself the opportunity to just feel that, to just be free.
Yes, it was very powerful, very powerful. And so I'm curious about your experience. like the thing about courage is that there has to be a value on the other side. So mine was, I wanted to be adventurous. What would you say yours was that allowed you to go through that fear?
It was just an analogy for having the courage to make decisions I needed to make.
Mm,
So jumping, pushing myself out of my comfort zone, of the fear of the unknown.
mm,
Don't know what's in front of me, but where I am is not great. I'm really stuck. I'm unhappy, and I need. It was a wasn't an analogy. It was what do you call it? Um, it was an exercise in
yeah.
this is what I need to do.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so powerful to be able to experience that with your whole body, not just with your mind.
Yeah, and with the consciousness of I'm stuck. I need to move through fear. I need to make some decisions, and the climbing the tower, fearful standing at the top, jumping, and feeling that that was really huge for me.
I can really identify with how huge that is and honor you for doing that. And so what did that allow you to be able to do in other areas of your life after you did that, had that experience?
To step Here's the thing about fear that I learned. It's only fearful in stepping up to it. When you're in the action of it, it's no longer fearful. So it's the space in between that's fearful. Stepping into it is no longer. And so it just helped me to start making those steps forward to move through it.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I love how you talked about the fear of the unknown. I think that is so limiting for so many people. And we can create so many false stories about what's going to happen.
You know,
Yeah. And so
and
when I
those are
was,
worse than what actually does happen.
oh, always.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always worse in our minds. Like when I was up on that platform thinking about what am I actually scared of? Am I scared I'm going to die? No, I know I'm totally hooked up. And for me, what it is a lot of the time is I'm scared of not being in control.
Yep.
Like what's going to happen if I just don't know.
Yep.
I can't plan in advance what's going
And
to happen.
especially, when you're used to having your feet under you, so
Yes.
to speak,
Yeah.
another analogy, and now you don't.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Just that mystery of the unknown. And so that for me was a really powerful experience to go into that and realize, oh, what I thought was going to happen didn't happen. I couldn't have predicted what was going to happen because it was so awesome.
Neat.
And the other thing that came up when you were talking is you were talking about how you wanted to expand your comfort zone. And I once, like, you weren't happy where you were. And I once heard a talk that said it's not so much a comfort zone because it's not really all that comfortable, but it's a familiar zone, a
Yeah.
familiarity zone. And I thought that was so insightful and it echoed what you were talking about. Your situation wasn't comfortable, but it was familiar. And that part of our brain that wants to keep everything the same can be really powerful.
Well, we know what to expect from same, even if it's a negative, right?
Yes.
And so it's amazing how we get stuck in our patterns, and they're unconscious. We don't
Yes.
see our patterns that sabotage us, but we do the same things over and over. We like that, we like to drive to the same gas station, the same grocery store, the same. And so anytime we push outside of that, we are expanding our perceptions, which is what helps us grow.
Exactly. I love it. Thank you for sharing that story. So much good juiciness in it. So, Eileen, if people want to learn more about you and your work, where can they find you?
You can find me on my website, eileenhead.com. That's EILEEN head. And I have a fun, free personality quiz. And I really encourage you to take some sort of action in your life. Start by taking the quiz, and it will help you identify nine personalities and some of their traits. Because for me, it has been absolutely life-changing, and I want to share that with people. So this is why I offer the fun free quiz.
Thank you. So yeah, go to eileenhead.com, you said?
Right.
Okay, and then I also have an invitation for you. I think it's so powerful when we share our stories of courage. And so if you feel like you have one, or especially if you feel like you don't have one, this is the perfect opportunity to go into the unknown and stretch that familiarity zone by applying to be a guest on this podcast. Because when we share our stories of courage, number one, it reinforces that we are courageous. And so many people say, oh, I'm not courageous. But actually, we are. Every day we do things that are courageous. And then when we share that story and it goes out into the world, what we're doing is giving other people permission to be courageous and to borrow that energy of courageousness, if that's a word. If you're feeling stuck in your life, you can borrow someone else's energy. It's so powerful. Plus, you get ideas on how to do it. So go ahead to ChristinaMarlette.com and apply to be a guest. I would love to have you. Eileen, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your wisdom and your enthusiasm and your story of courage.
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. And I will leave you with this thought. Self-care is anything but selfish. When we prioritize our own well-being, what we're doing is not only improving our own lives, but it ripples out and affects every relationship that we have. Plus, it affects the energy of the entire globe. So make sure that you practice some form of self-care today. And if you liked this episode, please go ahead and like, comment, and share it with your friends. I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Bye-bye for now.